Namaskar. In this week's journey through the timeless wisdom of Sanatana Dharma, we revisit the soul-taking episode from Srimad Bhagavatam, a tale that echoes across ages, reminding us of the transformative power of Namasmarana, the remembrance of the divine name. Today I speak to you about Ajamila, a fallen Brahmana who rose to salvation not through penance or sacrifice, but by the sheer grace evoked through a single sincere cry, Narayana. And Ajamila was born into a noble Brahmana household, immersed in the sacred rituals, Vedic studies, and righteous conduct. His early life was steeped in purity, his heart tuned to dharma, and his soul aligned with sacred knowledge. But destiny had a test in store. One day, while collecting samit, that is the sacred twigs, for his daily worship, Ajamila witnessed an unsettling scene. A woman of questionable conduct engaged in an immoral act with a man right in public view. That fleeting moment, that accidental glimpse, was a spark that slowly set fire to his spiritual resolve. Desire crept in like a shadow. The heart that once beat for the divine now throbbed with worldly longing. In time, he brought that very woman into his home, forsaking his chaste wife, his family values, and his sacred duties. And to sustain this new life, Ajamila plunged deeper into adharma, theft, deceit, gambling, a far cry from his disciplined beginnings. His father 10 children, and his youngest, whom he adored, was named Narayana. Years passed, Ajamila, you can call it Ajamila, was now old and frail. At 88, lying on his deathbed, his sins weighed heavy, his past haunting, and then the moment came. The Yamadutas, agents of death, approached with dreadful force, ready to drag his soul into the abyss. Terrified, unable to shield himself, Ajamila gasped in a cry of desperation. He called out to his beloved son, Narayana. What began as a call to his child echoed through the cosmos. The holy name had been uttered. And in a flash of divine light, 4 radiant Vishnu Dutas descended, clad in yellow silks, armed with conch and discus. They stood like beacons of grace. They stopped the Yamadutas, proclaiming, "He has chanted the name of the Supreme. His sins are burned like dry grass touched by flame." The Yamadutas protested. A heated dialogue ensued, and the Vishnu Dutas invoked the eternal truth of the scriptures. Sangetyam parihasyam vastobam helanameva va vaikundanama grahanam asheshagha haram vidu. That is, even if the Lord's name is uttered casually, jokingly, in mockery, or without devotion, the name of Vaikunta cleanses all sins completely. And defeated, the Yamadutas returned to their master, Yamaraja, and his words were striking. One who takes shelter in Vishnu's name, knowingly or unknowingly, escapes my domain. I am but the servant of dharma. He is protected by the Supreme Lord Himself. Ajamila, who had faintly overheard this divine intervention, was shaken awake, not just in body but in soul. A wave of remorse surged through him. With a heart full of gratitude, he renounced his old life and retired to Haridwar, the gateway to liberation. There, he spent the remainder of his days in sincere repentance and Nama Japa. And at the end of his life, he remembered Narayana, this time not as a son, but as a supreme. And with that, he ascended to Vaikuntha, the eternal realm of bliss. What is the message for us from this story? This is not a tale of condemnation, but one of redemption. In an age where distractions abound and virtue is often tested, Ajamila's story stands tall as a beacon of divine compassion. Even when we falter, even when we fall, there is hope, there is grace, and that grace flows abundantly through Namasmarana, the remembrance of the Lord's name. Let us therefore make the name of Narayana our constant companion, not just in moments of despair, but as a daily spiritual discipline. And Yedhavan Sankhya Yogabhyam Swadharma Parinishtaya Janma Labhaha Param Paraha Pumsam Anne Narayana Smriti. The highest success of human birth, whether through Sankhya, Yoga, Dharma, is to remember Narayana at the time of death. And let me close with the revered shloka that embodies this spirit. That is, Yasya Smarana Matrena Janma Samsara Bandhana. That is, and Vimuchade Namastasme Vishnave Prabha Vishnave. To that Supreme Vishnu, by whose remembrance alone one is freed from the bondage of birth and death, I bow down. And finally, Tasmat Sankirtanam Vishnu Jagan Mangalamam Hadam Mahatamabi Gauriya Vidyaikandiga Nishkritam. That is, the chanting of Lord Vishnu's name is the highest atonement, even for the greatest of sinners. It is the supreme purifier of the world. May the name of Narayana ever echo in our hearts. Let us remember him, not just at the end, but at every step of our journey. May the story of Ajamila awaken the divine within us, guide us into a week of reflection, resolve, and remembrance of the Supreme. Wishing you all a purposeful and spiritually uplifting week ahead. While most spiritual traditions emphasize Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga, and Bhakti Yoga as structured means to liberation, Kripa Yoga is that exceptional route where the Lord's boundless compassion intervenes, unearned and unsolicited, to uplift even the gravest of sinners. Ajamila did not consciously seek moksha, yet through the mere utterance of the Lord's name Narayana, grace descended, transforming his destiny. Friends, the story of Ajamila is not just a tale of fall and redemption. It is a shining example of Kripa Yoga, the rarest path wherein the divine grace overrides destiny. Ajamila, who had strayed far from dharma, did not consciously seek liberation. Yet the utterance of the name Narayana opened the gates of Vaikuntha for him. This is not ordinary. This is Kripa Yoga, when the Lord's compassion flows unasked, unearned, and unconditional. Let us reflect, dear friends, in a world that races for achievements and logic. This story whispers a divine truth. Not everything is achieved. Some things are simply received. And the Lord's name, even once uttered with faith or by accident, can transform our soul's destiny. So, let us not wait for the final breath to remember him. Let Namasmarana become our habit, our refuge, and our offering, in joy and in pain, in duty and in silence. May we, among the few, the blessed who walk the path of grace, invoking Kripa Yoga through surrender, sincerity, and sacred name Narayana. Best regards, Raju Krishnan, Hyderabad.